GodCubing here, and welcome to part 2 of my F2L trick series. Today, I'm going to be showing you good solutions to those difficult cases where the pieces are already in the slots. Let's get into it. In part 1, we covered cases where the pieces are already touching. I recommend following the link and checking out that video too, because those cases are quite difficult in their own right. Okay, so this is a typical beginner's method case, and you can use that solution if you get it from this angle. But what you might not know is that if you get it from this angle, there's another easy solution, where you put the edge in the back, and then do a sledgehammer, and that pairs them up, and then you can just insert. And if you get this case from the back, where the edge is on the side, then what you can do is you can put the edge in the back like this, and then take out the corner like this, and keep it in the layer, so that way when you restore the cross, you have different colors on top, and then you can hide the corner to pair them up, and then insert. Those solutions are great if this is your last slot case, but if it's not and you have an unsolved slot, then you can use keyhole, which can get a little complicated, so I'll give a brief description here. If you want a full tutorial on keyhole, feel free to comment it down below. What you do for keyhole is you move the unsolved piece out of the way and bring an unsolved piece from one of the other unsolved slots underneath the place where you want to put the edge. And then you simply insert the edge like you normally would, and then you restore the D layer, and it's solved. This case can be recognized by the twisted corner and the side color matching the top color. What you do for this case is you do an R, and then you do a U move to pair them up, and then you do an R prime to restore the cross, and then you can just insert them. And if you get it from the front angle like this, you can just do a sexy move to pair them up, and then insert. That first solution is easy to execute from the back. You could even do the second solution, but that will be hard to recognize because the edge and corner are both in back. This case looks pretty similar from the last case, except in this case, the side color and the top color do not match. And so what you do, if you get it where the white's facing you, then you can put the edge in front as well, and then do a sledgehammer, which pairs them up to insert. If you get it from the front angle, there's another easy solution. You just put the edge to the side here, when the white is facing the side, and then you do a double sexy, and that solves it. This case is pretty easy to recognize because the edge is flipped, these two colors don't match, and the white is facing the side. What you do if the white is facing you is you put the corner in the back like this, and then you take out the edge, and you'll notice that the edge color that's on top does not match what the corner was. So you put that here, which would set it up to be paired, and then you can insert with F moves or rotate and insert. And if the white is facing the side, then you do a U2, which will set you up so that you can do a sledgehammer, which pairs them up, and then you just do another U2 and insert. That first solution is easy to execute from the back, and then you can insert with the fancy wide F move insert that I showed in the last video. But if you get the case in the back, where the white is facing the side, then your best option is to rotate and do one of the other solutions. The way you can tell the difference between this case and the last case is that the edge is solved and the side colors match. What you do for this case, if the white is facing you, is again you put the corner in the back. But this time when you take the edge out, you put it back by where the corner was, because you see that this color matches what this color was. So you put it there, and that pairs them up to insert. This case is just as easy when the white is facing the side. All you have to do is put the corner to the other side, and then take out the edge like this, and that pairs them up, and then you can just insert them. And as with all cases where one piece is already solved, you can use keyhole. This case is a case a lot of beginners get wrong, and it's super easy once you know what you're doing. It's featured in almost every F2L video ever. What you do is you just do a sexy move or an inverse sexy move 3 times to avoid regrips. And I don't recommend using keyhole in this case because the white is facing the top. Now we're on to the hardest cases of all, where not one, but 2 pieces are unsolved in the slot. For this one, where the white is facing you and the corner is solved, you simply take them out and separate them at the same time using an R, U prime, R prime. Like that, which gives you this case, which is rotationless from this angle. And when the white is facing the side, you do the same thing to take it out and separate it simultaneously, R, U prime, R prime, like this, which gives you another rotationless case. Luckily, both of those solutions are 2gen, which means I can also execute them from the back. That makes this case completely rotationless. This case is one of the hardest. For this one, you can tell the difference between the last one because the colors on the side match, because the edge is flipped. And there's some really cool solutions to these ones. If the white is facing you, you can do a wide R, U prime, wide R prime, which takes it out like that. Then do a U2, put it in the back, and then do a wide R, U, wide R prime, and that pairs it up. When the white is facing the side, there's another cool solution, where you take it out and separate them using an R, U prime, R prime, which gives you this case, which you would normally need to rotate for. But you can do this cool trick that Jaden McNeil has an entire video about, and JPerm has mentioned once or twice, where you do an F move, and that gives you a rotationless case, and then you can just undo the F move, and that's how you solve it. The only time you'll ever need to rotate for this case is when the white is facing the side, and it's in a back slot. Then, you can just rotate to a front or back slot and solve accordingly. To be honest, this is a really bad last slot case. Brody the Cuber has an entire video devoted to this case because of how difficult it is. But if it's not your last slot, and you have another unsolved slot, then you can use keyhole by moving the edge over, flipping the edge, and then returning it. If this is your last slot case, you can either solve it the intuitive way by taking it out and then solving that pair, or you can do this really fancy solution that goes like this. R2, U2, F, R2, F prime, U2, R, U prime, or U, R. If you get this as your last slot, and it's a back slot, then you should rotate. But if it's not your last slot, and it's a back slot, just use keyhole. The last case. The flip pair. There are many ways to solve this case. CubeHead has an entire video about it, but I'll give you the gist. If this is your last slot case, then you should put the corner in the back and do a sledgehammer to pair them up, and then insert. But if you get this case in the front slot and you like it to solve it into the back slot, then you can just take it out, rotate, and then solve it into the back like that. If it's already in a back slot, then you can use this algorithm. R prime U, R prime F, R F prime R. Okay, that's all the F2L tricks for this video. Now here's how you should practice them. At first, I recommend doing normal solves, except that when you get a case that we talked about here in this video, pause, and then recognize it and figure out remember the algorithm, and then do that algorithm as fast as you can. Then, once you feel comfortable with all of them, then you can do this drill. So, during your F2L, you just recognize your pair, and if you can't recognize a pair, then you should rotate, but really thoroughly make sure you can't recognize a pair. Now here, I can see this pair, and now I close my eyes, and then I do that pair as fast as I can, with my eyes closed. And then I stop and I recognize my next one, and you can't do any moves while you're recognizing, and you can't rotate either. You gotta just recognize and try not to tilt the cube either, and I can tell that these two are probably a pair. And so I'll close my eyes and I'll do those two. And then I see these two and I'll do them. And then I see these two and I do them. And that's how that drill goes. After you can do those algorithms fairly quickly with your eyes closed and you don't mess up, then you can start using a metronome. So what you do is you start your metronome and then you do a move every time it beeps. And as you're doing this, you're really focusing on efficiency and not pausing. And then, after the solve, stop and reflect. If you think it was quite pauseless and efficient, then you can go ahead and increase the tempo. But if you made a couple mistakes and you paused a couple times, maybe you did a solution inefficiently, then you should either keep the tempo where it is, or if you were doing really bad, then maybe you should lower the tempo to a slower speed. Repeat this process with the metronome solves until you feel that you can solve efficiently and look ahead at your normal turn speed. Once you've reached that point, you should probably focus on another step. That's all for this video. If any of these solutions help you, leave a like. And don't forget to comment down below which step of CFOP you would like me to make a video about next. And subscribe so that you don't miss that video. Alright, bye.